Before court, Mom made her biggest move yet. She filed for emergency grandparent visitation rights. Her petition painted me as an unstable mother who'd cut off family access without cause. She demanded immediate supervised visits with the girls, with Bobby allowed to attend as their uncle. Our lawyer called it a kitchen sink approach. Throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. The emergency petition would be heard alongside our restraining order request. Mom was betting that a judge would compromise, maybe deny the restraining order but grant her some visitation. I spent that weekend organizing evidence, security footage, documentation of every encounter, the group chat screenshots, character references from teachers and doctors who actually knew our family. My husband helped me create a timeline showing Bobby's escalating behavior. The morning of the hearing arrived gray and drizzling. I dressed carefully, conservative but not severe. My husband wore his only suit. We dropped the girls at school early, my stomach churning at leaving them even with the new security measures. The courthouse parking lot was full of familiar cars. Mom had indeed mobilized the troops. I recognized aunts, uncles, cousins, family friends. They stood in clusters, whispering and shooting us dark looks as we walked past. Inside the courtroom, Bobby sat in the front row with Mom and their lawyer. He wore a new suit and had gotten a haircut. He looked like a respectable uncle, not someone on the sex offender registry. Mom dabbed at her eyes with a tissue, the picture of a grieving grandmother. Our side of the courtroom was nearly empty. Just us, our lawyer, and surprisingly, Sarah. She gave me a small nod as we took our seats. I'd never felt more alone yet, more determined. Whatever happened today, I wouldn't let them win. The judge entered, and I gripped my husband's hand. Everything we'd fought for came down to this moment. My girl's safety hung in the balance, and I was ready to fight with everything I had. The judge's gavel struck the bench, and proceedings began. Our lawyer presented the security footage first, showing Bobby's repeated surveillance of our home. The timestamps revealed a pattern of escalating behavior. Mom's lawyer countered by arguing that a man had the right to jog on public streets. During the first recess, I noticed Beth in the hallway making phone calls. She kept glancing at me while whispering urgently into her phone. My husband stayed close, his hand on my back as we navigated through clusters of hostile relatives. Back in session, Mom took the stand. She painted herself as a heartbroken grandmother denied access to her grandchildren. She produced photos of happier times, family gatherings where Bobby played with cousins. Her tears seemed genuine as she described how I'd torn the family apart. Our lawyer's cross-examination revealed the truth beneath her performance. When asked directly about Bobby's conviction, Mom claimed the victim's family had blown things out of proportion. She insisted Bobby had simply been showing affection. Several relatives in the gallery nodded along with her delusions. The judge ordered a brief recess to review evidence. In the hallway, Dad cornered my husband near the water fountain. I watched Dad's face redden as he gestured wildly, clearly trying to pressure my husband into making me drop the case. My husband simply walked away, leaving Dad standing there fuming. Sarah testified next, bringing printouts of the group chat messages. Mom's lawyer objected repeatedly, but the judge allowed them as evidence of coordinated harassment. Sarah's hands trembled as she read aloud their plans to ambush us at various locations. The afternoon brought Bobby to the stand. He'd clearly been coached, speaking softly about rehabilitation and redemption. He claimed he only wanted to be part of his niece's lives, to watch them grow up. His performance might have been convincing if you didn't know what he'd done. Our lawyer destroyed his facade with simple questions. Bobby couldn't explain why he'd chosen to jog past our house specifically. He fumbled when asked about the birthday party intrusion. His calm demeanor cracked when confronted with the victim impact statement from his case. During the lunch break, I discovered Mom had arranged for several church members to be present. They filled an entire row, wearing matching crosses and shooting disapproving looks my way. One woman I recognized from Mom's Bible study group actually hissed at me in the bathroom. The CPS investigation results were presented next. Patricia herself testified that she'd found no evidence of abuse or neglect. She noted that the children were thriving and well-adjusted. Mom's lawyer tried to spin this as evidence that the girls needed their extended family, but it fell flat. My testimony came last. I detailed every incident, every violation of boundaries, every attempt to manipulate my children. I showed the letters they'd sent directly to my daughters. I explained how we'd changed our entire lives to avoid Bobby's stalking. Mom's lawyer attacked my credibility, suggesting I was paranoid and controlling. He implied I was using my children as weapons in a family feud. I stayed calm, sticking to facts and documentation. The security footage spoke louder than his accusations. The judge announced he would review all evidence and issue his decision within 3 days. As we left the courtroom, Bobby made his move. He stepped directly into my path, forcing me to stop. His eyes held a coldness that chilled me as he leaned close enough for only me to hear his whispered threat about seeing the girls soon. My husband immediately positioned himself between us, and our lawyer documented the interaction. Bobby stepped back with a smirk, rejoining Mom and their attorney. The threat was subtle enough to maintain plausible deniability, but the message was clear. That evening, we found our mailbox stuffed with letters from various relatives. Each one condemned our actions and demanded reconciliation. Someone had also left a Bible on our doorstep with specific verses about forgiveness highlighted in yellow. The next morning brought new challenges. Jane's teacher called to report that Beth had shown up at school claiming a family emergency. The school had followed our protocols and denied her access, but Beth had caused a scene that upset several students. I drove to the school immediately to speak with the principal. She showed me security footage of Beth arguing with the front desk staff, demanding to take the girls for a family emergency. When refused, Beth had started crying loudly about being kept from her nieces. The principal assured me they would maintain vigilance, but suggested we might consider a different school. The situation was creating disruption, and other parents had expressed concerns. I left feeling defeated, knowing Mom's campaign was working exactly as intended. At home, I found my husband installing additional cameras around our property. He'd taken the rest of the week off work after Dad had shown up there again, this time with Uncle Helen's husband. They'd tried to corner him in the parking lot during lunch. Sarah called that afternoon with disturbing news. The family group chat had evolved into planning sessions for after the judge's decision. They discussed filing multiple legal actions to drain our resources. Some suggested showing up at the girls' activities to establish accidental contact. I spent hours documenting these new threats for our lawyer. Each piece of evidence felt like another weight on my shoulders. The girls sensed the tension, becoming clingy and anxious. Lily had started having nightmares, the she couldn't articulate what scared her. 2 days after the hearing, Bobby escalated further. He showed up at the grocery store where I was shopping with the girls. He didn't approach directly, but positioned himself where the girls would see him. He waved enthusiastically, calling out their names. I abandoned our cart and rushed the girls out of the store. Jane asked why we were leaving without our groceries. Lily wanted to know why we couldn't talk to Uncle Bobby. Their innocent questions broke my heart as I struggled to explain without frightening them. That night, we discovered someone had been in our backyard. Nothing was taken or damaged, but our daughter's outdoor toys had been rearranged. Their playhouse door was open, and someone had left 3 wrapped presents inside. The security cameras had mysteriously malfunctioned during that exact time frame. My husband called the police while I checked every lock and window. The officers took a report but explained that without proof of forced entry or footage, there was little they could do. The presents contained dolls, each one dressed in bathing suits like the one from Jane's party. The psychological warfare was taking its toll. I jumped at every sound, checked locks obsessively, and barely slept. My husband started working from home to maintain constant vigilance. We were prisoners in our own lives. Exactly what Mom and Bobby wanted. The morning of the judge's decision arrived with a thunderstorm. We dressed carefully again, preparing for either outcome. I'd arranged for a trusted friend from my mother's group to watch the girls, someone completely disconnected from my family. The courthouse was even more packed than before. Mom had mobilized additional supporters, including several prominent church members. They wore color-coordinated outfits and carried signs about family unity. Local news had somehow been alerted to the family dispute. Inside the courtroom, tension crackled like electricity. Bobby sat between Mom and their lawyer, wearing another new suit. The families coordinating their outfits like they're attending a wedding instead of trying to force kids near a predator. Someone clearly missed the memo on what family unity actually means. He kept turning to smile at family members, playing the role of persecuted victim to perfection. Mom clutched a handkerchief dramatically. The judge entered with a thick folder of documents. His expression revealed nothing as he began reviewing the case. He noted the evidence of stalking, the coordinated harassment, and the CPS complaint that appeared retaliatory. He also acknowledged Bobby's completed sentence and rehabilitation programs. As he spoke, I felt my heart racing. He discussed the balance between protecting children and maintaining family bonds. He referenced cases where courts had reunified families after criminal convictions. Each word felt like another step toward losing everything we'd fought for. Then he shifted to discussing the evidence we'd presented. The security footage showed clear patterns of stalking. The group chat messages demonstrated coordinated harassment. The birthday party incident showed blatant disregard for boundaries. His tone grew stern as he addressed Bobby directly. The judge's decision was mixed. He extended the restraining order for 1 year, citing the stalking behavior and harassment. However, he granted Mom limited grandparent visitation rights, 1 supervised hour monthly.